the toxic people, but we all have these qualities.
Yes.
We all have narcissistic qualities. We all can be passive aggressive, right? So some of it you can recognize in yourself, and there are the ways to get out of it. But the main thing is to not get involved with it. Becomes your friend. That's where most envy relationships occur, is between friends, right? And they make a point of being your friend. They're very friendly. They love you. They want to help you. They want to assist you. Wow, this is great, because we never get enough of that in life. And then 6 months down the road, they start turning against you, start doing things that completely confuse you. Now, probably in your first encounters, you could have detected something about them already. We all have narcissistic qualities. We all can be passive aggressive, right? So some of it you can recognize in yourself, and there are the ways to get out of it.
Getting lost in what we just said of losing your soul in power now driving you. Because I almost feel like when you start using the laws, you end up feeling a sense of power, and then that power can consume you often. It can become toxic. Some people start that way. They start with an agenda and they utilize the powers wrongly. But what to speak of someone who starts off in a more noble cause, but then now the laws are using them versus them using the laws?
Well, you have to understand there's an offensive and a defensive side to the laws, okay? And I always tell people who have these kind of compunctions about crush your enemy totally, I don't want to do that. Well, neither do I, okay? So if you're reading a law and it kind of triggers this, then it's not something you should do anyway. It's not gonna fit your way of doing it. You have a certain style, a certain belief system, certain values. I'm not telling you to go outside your values, but look at that law, which is probably the ugliest in the whole book, crush your enemy totally, and understand that in the business world, that law prevails 95% of the time. When a company like Google or any tech company has an enemy, their goal is to get rid of them completely, to buy them out so they have no competitors, right? Look at Amazon, but even smaller businesses dealing with rivals. It's a dynamic in the business world. So you need to be aware of it and not be naive. You don't have to practice it, but you need to be aware of it.
Does intention play in some of this work? Because I wonder if you thought about that when you were writing it. Do you think about it now in terms of how your intention fits in with a law? Or your reason why you're doing it, the cause behind the law that you're using? Does that impact or affect the quality of the effectiveness of the law? Does it make a law work better? Does it have any power? Does intention have any power?
You mean if your intention is for something good or for something evil?
Correct.
Well, it depends. Unfortunately, in the world today, and I've had this experience and we read about it in the news, a lot of people who have a dark side, whom we might consider rather immoral in their behavior, get pretty damn far, right?
Yeah.
And they use these laws and they don't pay any consequences. So there's no kind of ultimate justice in this world, although there might be in a religious sense. I don't deny that at all. But in a secular world, there's no consequences to pay for it. So people, if they have if they do crush your enemy totally, and that's their goal, they might end up being even better at it than somebody who doesn't really want to go there, but then kind of tries it half-heartedly, right? So I'm not here to say that justice and goodness always prevails, but the people who have those kind of intentions, the true sharks in the world, they don't need my book, right? They know it. It's in their DNA. They grew up at the age of 5 or 6, 7. It's already been implanted in them, and I write about that in my last book, The Laws of Human Nature. You can see that in certain people at a very early age. The great therapist, psychoanalyst Melanie Klein identified the greedy baby at the age of 6 months.
Wow.
That was already sucking so hard on the mother's breast. And she saw that this type of baby turned into the type that was actually very aggressive in life. So it's inbred very early on. People like that have patterns of behavior they cannot control. But those people with those kind of intentions who are very manipulative, I believe very firmly ultimately they hit a wall. They piss so many people off. They don't know the soft side of power. They have no self-control because all they know is grab, 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 push, push, push. They don't know when to yield. They don't know when to step back, right? They've only learned one way. And so that becomes their downfall.
Or is that just an energetic, intuitive thing that comes with time?
You know, this is why I have a chapter on nonverbal communication and
Yes.
the laws of human nature. We have an animal part of us, right? Where we feel certain things about people on that first encounter or second encounter that's not rational, that's intuitive. And then we don't trust it,
Yes.
right? And often it happens in a microsecond, in a flash. You meet somebody and you sense a chemistry or something a little bit wrong, right? Okay. But with you, if I met somebody like you who seems very genuine and sincere and I can read it in your face and I feel it, I don't need to be wary.
Toxic family, my workplace is toxic. And some people are honest enough to say, Jay, my mind is just toxic. Like it's not even other people.
Right.
Where do you start? Where do you guide people in that journey?
Yeah, it's obviously something I've been thinking about and dealing with for my whole life, particularly in all my different jobs. I'd had a lot of bosses that we would qualify as the psychotic boss, or no matter what you do that never pleases them kind of thing. And the best lesson of all, so we can say the different kind of toxic type of people, most often they're of the narcissistic variety.
Mm-hmm.
They're people who are grandiose. They're people who are aggressive, passive-aggressive, who feel a lot of envy. There's like deep-rooted insecurities, on and on. There are many types. But the main thing that you want to develop in life is the ability to detect them before you get involved with them. Because the way toxic people have learned, they've learned strategies since they were 6 or 7 years old of how to get power. And they embroil you in dramas. They get into your emotions, right? They entangle themselves in your life. They don't come at you saying, I'm toxic, I'm a narcissist, get away from me. They know how to appear charming. They know how to be interested in you. They know how to be moderately pleasing, etc. They can even be charismatic. You get involved with them, and then it starts to come out, and it's too late because you're emotionally entangled with them. They've got their roots inside of you, and you're sucked into their dramas, and it's really hard to get out, particularly in an intimate relationship. That's the worst of all. The best thing you want to develop in life is the radar to detect them before you get involved with them.
Because I feel like a lot of people in your situation, when they didn't feel any power at home or they didn't feel a sense of significance at home, often power or significance become pursuits for pleasure and for happiness. But power doesn't lead to happiness. What does power lead to?
Well, I'm not sure I completely agree with that because under the way I've defined power, where you feel like, okay, so let's say you have a spouse who has a very annoying pattern of behavior, all right? And in my books, I train you, being direct and yelling at them never works, never works.
Yes.
You have to learn the art of insinuation, of persuasion, which often is stepping back, which often involves teaching them a lesson, mirroring their behavior, right? And so your intention is not ugly or bad. It's that you can't live with this person unless they alter their behavior,